Alright, everybody listen up. I got something to tell you. What if I told you in season 2, the first time we saw a Spartan in Mjolnir armor fighting Covenant was in the first 15 minutes of episode 1. 7 episodes later, we just had the second to last episode of the season finale drop. What if I told you the last time we saw a Spartan in Mjolnir armor fighting Covenant is in like the first 15 minutes of episode 1, and the Fall of Reach already happened this season, as in it's already over and done with. Anyway, episode 7 dropped. The cuts between stories is starting to get pretty jarring. It's kind of pissing me off, so I'm gonna tackle these individually. We'll start with everyone's favorite storyline, Soren and his wife. He kind of just starts monologuing about his experience becoming a Spartan, how he was fighting adults when he was a kid and getting beaten up.
What are we gonna do about Kessler?
Nothing.
What?
So you mean to tell me we spent all this time with Soren learning about how unhappy he was with Dr. Halsey, how unhappy he was being a Spartan enough to escape the program. He has a wife and a son. His son gets abducted by the UNSC/ONI and he finds him here. And now he's like,
if we take this away from him, he'll never know which person he is.
Excuse me? Well, thank God his wife explains his motivations to us, because no way is anyone going to guess why this dramatic shift in character is happening.
All that time you were obsessing about Halsey, you were trying to find your way back.
It meant something, being a Spartan.
So, Soren wants to be a Spartan again, where his own wife needs to convince him to save his own son from being beaten up by a bunch of Oni goons who kidnapped him. He just doesn't care until he does and saves his son. But then his son along with his wife get captured. Why the hell are you wasting everyone's time with this story, and how did you manage to screw this up? I just don't understand what this story brings to the world of Halo. Your time is gonna be much better spent on literally anything else at this point. Like more time with Quan, everyone's favorite self-insert OC. We love her. I guess we'll talk about this now.
What was inside?
You first. Whatever you found wasn't in your notes.
DNA. Theirs and ours.
Well, I won't say anything just yet, but this was the motivation for the Spartan program, to find kids who had DNA close to what she found here and turn them into super soldiers, I guess. Halsey breaks the news to Miranda that Jacob Keyes is dead. We're all sad about this. A lot of these next few scenes are pretty much science magic BS, just accept that it's happening. Instead of having Halsey or Miranda Keyes solve this puzzle with their knowledge and experience of studying Forerunner artifacts, the person who's gonna solve this and open the door to the Forerunner laboratory is Quan with her shaman caveman knowledge. Dr. Halsey takes the words right out of my mouth.
You must be joking.
Well, they walk into the lab, find a Forerunner lizard person naked on the floor holding something, but the lab suddenly starts rumbling and they need to escape. And then we see it. Look at that. Holy shit. So this is what we're doing, huh? I assume we are doing the Prometheans already, or am I wrong? This kind of makes me wonder if the flood is even gonna happen in this TV show.
Growth. What's wrong?
It's real.
I don't know. Jacob Keyes is already dead. The Fall of Reach was pitiful. We already have an Arbiter and a Covenant rebellion being teased. Spartan 3s aren't even Spartans. They're just people without augmentations as far as the show is concerned. The point is, anything can really happen. I think it would be funny if the flood just never happened, and what they unearth on Halo or here on Onyx are just a bunch of killer robots. I know people might find this reveal to be a good part in the show, but I struggle to feel the same way because of how everything else in the show has been handled, so why get excited for things like this? I'm already kind of annoyed that Quan is the one hinting at the flood rather than having our main characters figure this out. Let's say the best case scenario happens, a flood outbreak happens here on Onyx or Halo. Besides Dr. Halsey, there's not really a single character I like that I would care about if they die. Do you really think I'd care if if Jimmy died, for instance? Are you joking? Anyway, Miranda Keyes got the USB that Forerunner lizard person was holding. She opens it, and Halsey hears someone unauthorized is in the building, and she just kind of vanishes. Guess we'll find out more later. Alright, now we can go through the story that we all came here for. Jimmy and Makee. Jimmy is rightfully upset. Makee is part of the Covenant who killed Reach. Makee tries to paint this whole war like there are no good guys or bad guys. We are actually getting the we're not so different, you and I. It's bad if the Covenant gets Halo because they'll use it to annihilate humanity. Like, yeah, that is pretty bad. If humanity gets to Halo, they'll wipe out the Covenant, and that's bad too. Wait, what?
If they control the Halo.
They will annihilate humankind. And if the humans control it, they'll annihilate the Covenant. This is all they know.
What? Jimmy, stop letting her hold your hands and firmly backhand some sense into this dialogue. This woman needs to die. The Covenant are the ones who started a campaign to commit genocide. They were the ones glassing human colonies. These two sides are not the same, even if the UNSC or ONI have done some bad things. I'd side with them over a faction that wants to annihilate my own kind. I really wish he would have some backbone and tell her these things instead of letting her control the conversation. This is just very stupid. I mean, he's just letting her talk about how the ring belongs to both of them, and they could rule Halo and this world together.
We could build a world here. The ring doesn't belong to them. It belongs to us.
Oh man, dude, am I fucking watching modern Star Wars or Halo? I also kind of find it hilarious that we're already establishing what Halo is, like it's both a weapon and a life-bringer. It was a whole journey in Halo Combat Evolved just to figure out what Halo even did. Halo 2 even made that a journey for the Arbiter. But in this show, without even setting foot on Halo, we've already vaguely concluded what it can do. What the hell, man? Thankfully, before the conversation gets any worse, they're pulled out of their dream sequence. The priest waddles after Makee to try and kill her, but fails. Unfortunate. Cortana distracts him and Makee gets the assassination kill. We loved seeing Makee score some wins.
I take it your strike team has failed to locate Master Chief.
People learn that Master Chief in fact is not dead. It'll lead to inconvenient questions about Reach.
Look, I've already been over this already in my last video. I'm not gonna repeat the whole thing. Oni are just a bunch of clowns mishandling Jimmy's capture. None of this should have happened. Not sure why they didn't even bother to kill him the first chance they got when he's supposed to be dead anyway. I mean, they get another chance in this episode, but everyone decides to disobey orders and let him go. I'm not even gonna try and think about this scene. Kai comes out of nowhere and punches this idiot in the back of the head. And I guess the Covenant fleet that chased after Arbiter have arrived at their location now. The plan is to send Spartan 3s to die, trying to spike one ship, and this doesn't sit well with Ackerson.
No, the first wave just got obliterated, and now you're sending more. Admiral, don't do this.
Where the hell is this coming from? This is the same guy who was content with letting Reach get obliterated without warning. The same guy who was fine with sending Spartan 2s to certain death, but this is where he draws the line? What the hell is happening right now? I kind of want to gloss over the conversation Jimmy has with Kai because it doesn't really go anywhere character-wise.
You lied to us. You put us in harm's way. You got us grounded.
You trusted people who wanted us dead.
I'd be on Jimmy's side if he's referring to that horribly written conversation she had with Ackerson last episode. But no, this was before the fall of Reach, which you can't be upset at her for when you lied to your team and made an ass of yourself.
You lied to us.
I told you what you needed to know to complete the mission. Where do you think you're going? Bannock! Since when do you question my judgment?
I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to talk to you as your friend.
I don't need a friend, petty officer. I need a Spartan. 125, you are not dismissed!
And he still has yet to apologize because he's a dick. Any problems they had with each other, it's all water under the bridge. They're on the same side, that's all you need to know. Ackerson finds out evil Oni person lied to him about the simulation. The real plan was to spike one of the ship's fusion reactors. After Jimmy finds him, demanding his armor, Ackerson conveys this information to him that the blast is powerful enough to wipe out an entire star system. Okay, I have mixed feelings about this? Let me explain. If it's enough to damage a huge chunk of Halo, or I know it's not the same thing, but a slip space drive malfunction being able to destroy half of a supercarrier, I think that's fine, and it should be very costly and difficult to pull off to where our characters wouldn't even consider doing such a thing unless there were no other options. But an entire star system can be wiped out with this method, and all they need to do is spike the command console of any ship. I think that's pushing it. But the biggest gripe I have is that this is the final stage of Oni's plan, so did they ever care about Halo's secrets to begin with? I mean, she tries to explain the Covenant cannot be allowed to have Halo.
This isn't just another battle. If the Covenant takes the Halo, we won't live to fight another day. There will be no more days.
But it's like you're the reason they're here. You gave them Cortana, which led them to finding Halo. I talked about this in my last video as well. Like, this was a horrible idea that should not have even been allowed to get this far. And you could have just led them to some other location. Halo is literally right here in front of this entire Covenant fleet thanks to you. And the end game is to now just kill everybody in this fight, including Halo. Trying to understand this plan is bringing me to the point of having a brain hemorrhage. This still doesn't explain why Ackerson even cares that much about the Spartan 3s dying for this.
Since when do you care about Spartans? These Spartans are my life's work.
Are you joking? What work are you even talking about? These people, they are your life's work? They're not even real Spartans. They're just people. Perez is a Spartan 3. This happened over like a week or two. Still wasn't explained, but is she your life's work? Sorry, I just can't believe any of this. I just find it so adorable. Someone thought this was good. Regardless, Jimmy finds his armor, talks about Vanek, even though I don't care much about Vanek since we barely knew anything about him. Jimmy convinces Ackerson to tell the truth about Reach. Jimmy is apparently not going to help in the fight against the Covenant fleet. His plan is to get to Halo first before Makee, while Kai is going to help lead the Spartan 4s, Spartan 3s fight the Covenant. We get a scene with Makee and Arbiter where she claims to be fallen. Not sure if she's lying, but what redemption even happened here? She helped the Arbiter find Halo, but what does that even mean? How does this address the Prophet's line? What is the Arbiter's shame? Why was he made an Arbiter? What did he redeem himself from? I could probably piece this together with my knowledge of the games, but I'm trying to piece this together with what happened in this show, since this isn't even canon. Then Makee brands herself with the mark of shame. I got nothing. They're beyond friends now, it seems. I wouldn't be surprised if in the finale we see Arbiter giving her his meat stick as they cruise over to Halo. We get a scene with Jimmy and Perez. What happened to Jimmy's injuries? I'm not really sure what the point of this scene was besides trying to be philosophical on how you shouldn't assume you're lucky flipping a coin. You may have just forced that coin to flip a certain way because of who you are. Okay. Look, only when your show is good is when you're allowed to have scenes like this, alright? Also, why is this show continuing to lie to me? This is Jimmy Rings. Master Chief was never here to begin with. Jimmy announces his return, Evil Oni person is shocked this is happening, and Ackerson is restrained. Their plans have been foiled. Look, the show is funny, okay? That's why I'm laughing. Jimmy and Makee race to get to Halo. The Spartan 3s and whatever part of the UNSC military is even here is about to engage the Covenant. Our first army clash is finally going to happen in the finale because that's where the episode ends. Honestly, I don't really have much to add or think about with this episode. It's mostly because they screwed up their main plot line in episode 6, which was the Oni human drama. I'm not surprised they they rush through more material because they're like, holy crap, we don't have much time left, we gotta wrap this up. I feel like a major problem this show has is that it just doesn't seem to care to tell its own story. A lot of shit just happens off screen, like Perez's journey to Onyx Base and her integration into the Spartan 3 program, Arbiter's fall and redemption arc. I don't even know what that was. The biggest example being the fall of Reach. Everyone keeps talking about how amazing Jimmy is, but we've not really seen this legend on screen doing things that make you buy into any of it. This show is a living embodiment of telling rather than showing, an example on why you shouldn't do that. Anyway, we got one more episode left. Honestly, I'm hoping Kai plants the spike and just kills everybody. She would be a hero in my book, preventing a third season from happening by killing Perez, Jimmy, and Arbiter, and Makee. But part of me kind of wants a third season to happen. Why, you may ask? Because it's kind of fascinating watching all this happen. I can't be the only one who finds joy in dissecting this abomination and watching it flail around like a little freak, right?